Ladies and gentlemen, I have bought a Land Rover, a proper one as well, not one of these ones that you buy on finance for Instagram just because you've got 2 pugs and a pair of tracky bottoms and a gym membership. This is a proper Land Rover. It's a Discovery. It's like a tractor with windows. Let's have a look. Now, I'm not going to give you the full details as to how this Land Rover ended up with me, but needless to say, it was actually fairly cheap. However, because I'm not really a Land Rover person, you'll be all like, oh, Geoff, you're not a Land Rover person. No, I'm not a Land Rover person, but I like this. Let's have a quick look at it. So it's a Discovery ES on a 1997, I think. It's an R-Reg. It actually came from, if you look at the back number plate, Lex Land Rover Stourbridge, and a few years after this Land Rover was made, I was going to college in Stourbridge on the bus going past the Land Rover dealer, and I remember seeing a Range Rover outside in this exact colour. It would have been a bit later than 1997, but I distinctly remember thinking, oh, what a beautiful colour. And it is indeed a beautiful colour. It's a 300 TDI, and Land Rover people will tell you that this is probably one of the best ones to have. It's got a gold swage line down the middle. It's badged as an ES. Now the ES, and we'll get into this in a minute, means it's got lots of buttons which do lots of cool things. But it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 sunroofs, although 2 of them are really just skylights. But a very, very cool truck indeed. They don't make them like this anymore. You've all spotted the rust on the side step, but actually it's not too bad. It's had a lot of recent work. See those fresh bolts in there from the bushings being done at the back. What this car wants is a day or 2 with a wire brush and some wax oil, essentially. It wants a full undercoating. There's maybe 1 patch of welding that needs doing, but it's got 2 weeks MOT. That makes it a proper Geoff special. And it's leaking a bit of air out of the bead around the alloy wheel. So I suspect the alloy wheels have got corrosion on the inside. So you probably want to go around the inside of the alloy wheel with your wire brush whilst you're doing that and reseal all of your tyres. Road King tyres, because it is the king of the road. I do actually think that it is properly lovely. We're going to go for a drive today. I don't think we'll go for a drive. I've driven it and it basically stopped beeping. Stop beeping. Apparently, John says you can pull the fuse out and stop it beeping, or just shut the door. I've driven it and it actually drives beautifully. I mean, listen to this. Let's fire her up. This sounds very, very smooth. No warning lights on the dash. Look at that. I swear that's quieter than my 5-cylinder diesel Volvos. Just a lovely, smooth sounding engine. I mean, look at that. They don't make them like that anymore. More to the point as well, and the reason this Land Rover has value is because it hasn't been messed with. It hasn't got a One Life Live It sticker on it. It hasn't got a flashing orange beacon and a 6-inch lift kit and a big sign on the back saying key worker, chap in Malvern, driving around with your straight through exhaust. You know who you are. Basically, it hasn't actually been owned by a bell end. In fact, it's been owned by a really nice chap who's had it for 10 years and has serviced it quite meticulously. It's only a 3-owner car and it's only done 113,000 miles, and it deserves to have the work put into it so that it doesn't end up with someone who's going to put an orange beacon on it and a great big flippy aerial and a One Life Live It sticker and then sit in a field with a whole load of other Land Rover people and tug each other off in tugging competitions, because that's what they like to do. This needs to be bought by someone that wants a winter smoker and wants to drive around looking like the landed gentry, probably wearing a flat cap, because that is what this car deserves. So it does need a good home. I would keep it, but my motorhome is my winter hack, and I'm not planning on being in the UK for winter. The other side of this is it kind of does everything that the Volvos do for me. So let me explain. So that's quite 4-wheel drive and it's quite high up, but that one is also a diesel automatic. It's fairly high up, it's got fat tyres, so it can do things, but it isn't 4-wheel drive. However, I'm not a key worker, and when it gets icy, I just go, oh, we don't need to leave the house today. So I don't necessarily need a Land Rover. So that does the same as that, except this does it whilst doing 28 to 30 miles per gallon when that one does 50 to 60. So really, you're not going to get me out of my diesel Volvo and into a diesel Land Rover, although I am very, very fond of this one. It's actually, and all the Land Rover people can correct me in the comments, this is the same platform that the first Range Rover L322 was built on. It does feel like a Range Rover because I had one of those last year as well, a couple of years ago, and we did do a little bit of wading when it got a bit floody. That'll all be coming later in the year. Floods, famine, pestilence, no farmers, no food. Government pay the farmers to stop growing the food, so you're going to need a Land Rover to get out into the fields to grow your own. But basically, it feels a lot like the Range Rover, but I just think it's a lot cooler than an L322 Range Rover. There's something about it. As I say, on the fuel economy, this is going to be pretty similar on fuel economy to the TD6 BMW engine Range Rover, but I just think it's a cooler offering. Inside the cab, we've got full leather, electric seats, heated seats, sunroofs up there. As I say, twin sunroof. We've got a sunroof in the front and one in the back. Ample space for activities in the back. It came with stacks of history, and it's just generally a very, very cool machine. I like it a lot. I've never had one of these Discoveries. I've always been very curious, and I really like running around in this thing. The colour is just fantastic, and that's why I've got the bike out as well, because look at these two colours when you put them together. So one's 1997 and one's 1998. Where did we go so wrong? Two fantastic machines from almost the same year, both of which were made in Britain. And yet, look where we are now with manufacturing in the UK and the absolute shambles that has become Jaguar Land Rover, who've just destroyed themselves by trying to appeal to a woke customer that doesn't actually buy cars. It's hilarious, isn't it? We used to build good stuff. I mean, look at these things. A super capable 4x4 and one of the finest looking motorcycles ever made. And yet, today, in 2025, it's not happening. So that is my Land Rover Discovery. I will be doing something with this. We'll be getting an MOT on it. As I said, it's only got 2 weeks MOT. I don't think it needs too much welding. It's fairly good underneath here, but thankfully I've now got loads of Land Rover people watching in the comments, and they can tell me. So you see there's a bit of surface rust there on that one. This is the area of concern, perhaps in that rear arch. We've got a little bit of daylight coming through there, but it's nothing major. And then if we have a look underneath, because I know all the Land Rover people are going to comment, those are the ones that are still watching and weren't offended when I said that those people that drive around on lifted Land Rovers late at night with a key worker sticker on the back window and a whiplash aerial and an orange flashing beacon and a straight through exhaust are bellends. Most of the people that are watching probably agree, but my sills look okay. I mean, I don't really know what I'm looking at because I don't really know Land Rovers, but it looks to me like there's a few new bits under there. There's some shiny bits alongside all of the brown rusty bits. In the front arch on the right here, again, we're not looking too bad. We've got a fair bit of surface corrosion, but it is only surface corrosion. Pop the camera around there, let's have a look. Hey, springs don't look too bad either. So I reckon we're all right here, you know. So it's just a great looking thing, isn't it? It's really cool. Just wants an afternoon's work, or 4 days if you Phil. Joking, Phil. Just to clean it all up, get in there with the old wax oil, you know, get involved, rub it down. Make a lot of gay jokes in this. What's that there? Is that the sill? Does that mean that the sill shot all under there? Well, you tell me in the comments. What's this bit that I'm looking at here? No, that's just what, Geoff, you're an idiot. That's the step. I'm moaning about the step. Does the step matter for an MOT? No, because it's an accessory. Just take the step off, Geoff. What an idiot. You're making a fool of yourself in front of all these Land Rover drivers who are key workers and have got orange flashing beacons and whiplash aerials. And they go around with the straight through exhaust pipes late at night, making sure everybody knows that they're important. Should that be attached there? Don't worry, Geoff. A key worker in a Land Rover will tell you in a minute. I bet Stephen Spencer likes this. Steve from Steve Steel. I bet he could tell me all sorts about this Land Rover because this has been a terrible review. But I didn't really want to review it. I just wanted to show you my new toy. Should we start the bike up instead? Geoff, you meant to be reviewing a Land Rover. Get off my bike, you flies. I know, but it's definitely not an easy thing to do whilst holding the phone. So there we go. That is a quick look at my Land Rover Discovery and my Triumph Speed Triple. Let me know what you think of the Land Rover. I just think that is such an iconic shape, built in a time when cars were proper and lasted forever. The 300 TDI, if well serviced, and if you keep an eye on the rust, these will last forever. There's a lot of these on the continent in places where we don't get as much rust. And I just think it's a lovely, Lovely thing. So tune in for the next video when I buy an orange beacon and a key worker sticker and a One Life Liggett t-shirt, and I'm going to drive up and down my straight through exhaust of my amber flashing beacon. Thank you very much for watching this absolutely serious Land Rover review. My wife said to me, "You realise you don't look like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible 2?" And I said, "Ha ha, yes I do." This thing is, in 2025, you can be what you want to be. So if I want to identify as Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible 2 from a movie that came out 30 years ago, then I can. And nobody can stop me. And that's the funny thing. That's why you've got to get out of the country. Right, that'll do, Geoff. Hello and welcome to a very serious review of this Land Rover, because I've gone and bought a Land Rover and it's not one of them ones that you buy on finance because you've got 2 pugs and some tracksuit bottoms and a house on finance and some turkey teeth. This is a real Land Rover discovery. Oh, but I have put it on my Instagram account already. Damn it. Broke my own rule.